I really can't figure out what's going to happen to us next in 2012. I keep saying that we're going to have a reality TV president. Obviously, it's not going to be Trump. So I'm going to guess here, Bob.
Well, Jesus Christ, David, how is Barack Obama not a reality TV president?
Well, he doesn't.
We've got hours. I mean, we've got serious journalists devoting serious journalism time to Donald Trump to talk about how he's not. Where's the birth certificate?
Well, there's no scene on YouTube where he's shouting at Michelle saying, "This is my house." so there is.
He's still got a year, buddy.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I'm saying is what I'm getting at is do you think Jeb Bush is going to make the appearance? Because the people at the National Review, what is it, Rich Lowry, he says that Jeb Bush in 2016 it will be way out of the spotlight. And the new candidates that are coming in, the new blood, he won't be able to compete with the new blood. And I found it interesting that he's still, I guess he's sort of not on your side, because that would be.
Well, the only guy who can beat Barack Obama is Jeb Bush.
So do you still think he's going to make an appearance in June?
It's getting a little close.
I know it is getting close.
But the thing is, in terms of the psychology of the Bush family,
yeah,
the Bush family does not like, they're kind of like a bald eagle. Neither bald eagles nor buzzards will go after anything their own size. They always prefer to pick on the small and the weak. That's why incumbent George H.W. Bush was able to defeat a less than inspiring nominee in the form of Michael Dukakis. That's and then he went up against a buzzsaw named Bill Clinton, who, with the help, as Reverbo noted in his most recent column at the Horn, Ross Perot, spoke some real truths. And then completely unloaded his personal firearm into his personal foot by talking about Martians and kidnappings.
Yeah.
But the Bush family does not above all, rule one for the Bush family. I mean, the Bush family is like that one episode of Seinfeld where all through the program, Kramer's talking about how he's kicking ass in karate class. Karate.
Yeah.
And then you find out he's kicking 6-year-olds' butts. And they finally, they finally get disgusted and gang up on him and beat him up. Well, when a Bush gets the chance, a Bush prefers to go up against a poor candidate. If, for instance, in 2004, if George Bush had to run against John Edwards, and this is even knowing what we know about John Edwards,
right?
He would have lost his shirt. But instead, he went up against a fellow bonesman. Oh, look, we're back at Yale again, David.
Right.
And John Kerry gave us a good talking to. And he said that George Bush was Orwellian. I heard John Kerry use the phrase Orwellian in Beckley, West Virginia. When you do that, you're losing. Bless his heart. It's kind of like Chris Hedges talking about Raskolnikov and Dante.
Yeah, I understand completely.
Talk about what Talk about the moral and ethical differences between Shake and Frylock. You're going to have a lot more luck with that.
Yeah. So if we were to go back to DeLorean in 2000 in late April, now I don't. The hindsight is 2020, but I don't seem to remember the specifics. What was the mood or the climate when people were talking about the Bushes right before then? Would they say he's going to run? Because they said, I looked it up on Wikipedia to make sure, and they said, which isn't really a certain source, but they said that he announced in June. And I was just wondering, do you remember that there were proclamations and announcements that?
Yeah, but before everybody knew before that.
Yeah, I mean, but were the people coming out and they said George W. is not going to run. He's more interested in staying in Texas or whatever. I mean, was the mood that, or was everyone like, well, it looks like he's going to...
No, everybody knew.
Okay.
I mean, long before that, I can remember a specific point on a specific road in a specific automobile, listening to National Public Radio, talking about George Bush's wildly different vision of what it meant to be a Republican because he was a compassionate conservative.
So really, this...
and I about wrecked the car.
So this Jeb Bush thing is becoming more and more of a long shot as every week progresses.
Yeah, and the thing, and I think the controlling factor is what I was sort of rambling on about there, David. It is that he does not want to go up against Barack Obama because he doesn't want to go home to Kenny Bunkport and get noogies for George for being beaten by the Negra.
You might be right about that.
And his mother would gag, she would garrote herself on her own pearls. You know, losing to one of them.
Yeah, and the thing about it is it goes back to the do they want it, or do they just want to crash the economy and blame the black president?
Well, see, yeah, that's the thing. I kept saying, you know, Jebby, yeah. But I was not taking into account the fact that we have. Okay, bear with me, all right?
Yeah.
We've still got massive unemployment in this country. But as Sandra has described, that massive unemployment is being reframed as a new normal.
Right.
And so it's going to stay that way. But at the same time, look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's back above 12,000 and climbing. So that means that, I mean, when the Dow is like that, that means that there's a lot of phony baloney money floating around out there that needs stealing. That means that there are still people with mutual funds who need cleaning out.
Right.
So what you want to do is you want, and this is the other side of me that says that the Republicans aren't 10 cents worth of interested in having the GOP president because they're getting everything they want out of Barack Obama. It took Bill Clinton 8 years, even with his failings and the nasty things he did, and it has nothing to do with sex. It took 8 years of Bill Clinton to right the ship that had been hurled onto the rocks after 12 years of Reagan and Bush. And there was money sitting, you know, look at that, big bowl of cash just for the taking. At which point the Republicans became in earnest serious about the presidency to the point that they were willing to steal the election.
But there is that.
And then they got to steal everything, which is what they did during 8 years of George W. Bush. Well, the cupboard's bare.
Yeah.
And the cupboard is being refilled. But Barack Obama can't refill it in 4 years. He needs 8, just like Bill Clinton had. And then somebody comes along and steals us blind again. You see how...
I see what you're saying, but the only thing is where it concerns the Supreme Court. Do you think they're still going to want to reach in there and go for the 2012 gold because they want to get the Supreme Court? Or do you think that is...
No, they've got the Supreme Court.
Well, in their eyes, you know, they want it more, and they want it all. And what I'm saying is you don't think that they would want to...
The Supreme Court, with the exception of the most highly motivated of the baseboard scurriers from the fundamentalist right, is not an issue for the Republicans. Their primary goal, frankly, and I guess there's a double entendre in primary. But their primary goal in 2012 for all that it's misdirection. You know, look what the right hand's doing. Look at what the right hand's doing with the left hand up here with the birdie. Watch the birdie. And the birdie is presidential politics, David.
Right.
Meanwhile, the down dirty is about the Senate. Because they know, that they can push Barack Obama around because he's been pushed around plenty. And if they get the House and the Senate, then the Ryan bill just, like, threw a goose and winds up on Barack Obama's desk, at which point in time they're pretty sure that they can stare him down into signing it.
Mm.
You know, look at the things that came out of a Republican Congress that they got Bill Clinton to sign. Welfare reform, the Telecommunications Act of 1996. You know, those are two big nasties. They want, David, they want the Senate. They want the Senate badly.
I guess we'll see on who they run for, who ends up running for president. And we know it's not going to be Trump.
How do we know that?
How do we know that? I think his.
I mean, they took Sarah Palin out at the knees.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, we didn't do that. The Republican establishment did that.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, you know, with pronouncements from people like Karl Rove that, well, Donald Trump, he's just nuts. He's a fringer. Then, you know, that was the dog whistle from Karl Rove to take Donald Trump out at the knees. But Donald Trump has something that Sarah didn't. Money. You know, real, live, honest-to-Jesus, Jed Clampett, folding up, walking around money. And so it's not going to be as easy. But then you're left, and, you know, the smartest one of the bunch is, without a doubt, Mike Hucksterby, because he sat there and giggled quietly up his French cuffed sleeve, while Sarah Palin and Newt Gingrich were being taken off the air because they couldn't stand it. They just had to say how bad they want to be president. And Fox, therefore, had to remove them from the air. So that leaves Mike Hucksterby, who has not been removed from the air at Fox and continues to have all the face time he could possibly want and lets the poll numbers climb in his favor. And Tim Pawlenty, you know, 87% of America can not only not pronounce his name, they can't spell it. Mitt Romney? No, sorry. On one thing alone, and one thing only, America ain't going to have no president what wears no magic underwear. No
collab president.
Sorry, no. You know, who does that leave? Gangrene? Haley Barbour? Really? Haley Barbour? Haley Barbour, who's so big and nasty that he had, you know, back surgery the other day because he can't carry his trundleless bulk around anymore? You know, and that's not me being hard on big people. I'm big people. I know how bad your back can hurt.
Hey.
But, no, who's left? Where's the serious candidate, David? Where's the serious candidate?
I guess we're going to... Well, that's an oxymoron when it comes to anything regarding the GOP, a serious candidate.
No, but where's the candidate that the GOP can really rally around, who can make them positively pee themselves at the mere mention of the troops?
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to keep Googling Jeb Bush news.
Yeah, I mean, look, old Snakehead said it best. If Jeb Bush's last name was Smith instead of Bush, he would be the Republican frontrunner right now.
What do you think the last week is to count him out in terms of, like, the third week of May, the second week of May? What's the week where you say it's all she wrote, Jeb's not going?
Okay, this is where I'm going to be kind of muley.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count him out till they close the convention, because I think above all, the one thing that would move him is a draft Jeb movement.